So my first experience with Godzilla was the one in like 2005, the one that took place in New York City. You know what I'm
It
talking
came
about?
out in 1998.
Oh, 1990. Okay, whatever. But it had like they had like eggs in there.
Yeah, and then like
yeah.
it's a creature that can create its own eggs, and it turned out to be like it literally turns into Jurassic Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like these tiny little Godzillas are just roaming the city now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my very first experience with Godzilla. Now, mind you, I probably watched it around 2005, 2007. I was a little lad. You know what I mean? I actually really like it. I haven't watched it in at least probably almost 2 decades. My next experience is with the first Godzilla remake, the one that was in 2015, I think?
2014 with Edwards, right?
Yes.
It's Aaron Taylor Johnson, Bryan Cranston.
Yes, and I thought it was extremely boring. I did not
Really?
I did not like it.
Wow.
I've only seen it once. Maybe if I go back with like a fresh perspective, I did not like
You
it.
did have a pre-adolescent mind.
Yes, I
frontal
did.
lobe was not
Yes.
developed.
Nor is anyone's below, what, is it 25, I think? Or 26?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you still got some ways to go. But anyways, that's my next experience. And then I watched the first Kong vs. Godzilla. I watched that one.
That's fun.
It was fun. It was fun. That was more of what I wanted from Godzilla. But now -1, it just made me realize exactly what I wanted from Godzilla. Like, he was so, like, okay, how many people made the movie? Because I saw some things that, like, only a group of people made the CGI.
I know that the director really took in hand of kind of overseeing all the special effects. There's a rumor that they made it for like 12, like I think I want to say 12 to 15 million, and the director came out and said, "I wish I had made it for that much." Which makes you question, like, okay, if you had lower than that budget to what you were doing with, what can you do if you give this man like a freaking $20 million budget? He's gonna make that thing look amazing.
But when they first introduced Godzilla, like coming out of the ocean and everything, like, or maybe it was a little later, but when he like peeked his head, it just made me feel like Jaws, and I was like, oh my god! Yes. I was like, this thing is terrifying, terrifying.
Are you talking about the scene where they're in the boat, right?
Yeah, they're in the boat.
Being chased
yeah,
by
the mid part of the movie.
Yeah.
They come across the crash. Dude, I was like, this thing is. It was exactly what I wanted from Godzilla. But when he went into the city and like just destroyed everything, and then when you first see his atomic blast, like in full force, I was like, wow, that's actually a nuke. Like, it was actually a fucking nuke. Yeah. Because like in the movie, it's always been like, whoa, like
it's like that area is just
just that area. Everything was fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
What did you think? Did you like the ending?
I did like the ending. Are you talking about? So you're talking about the ending with the humans, or the end, like the end,
just
like
the
kind of like
ending
the
as a
post
whole.
The whole ending was awesome. I do, like I said, I don't know that much about Godzilla, so I didn't know he regenerated. So I thought it was really cool when the landmine blew up in its face, and it just like. I wasn't expecting that.
Slowly,
I thought it was just gonna like have battle scars from like the years and years that it's been alive. Like that's what I always thought Godzilla was, and seeing that it could like regenerate on the spot, that was sick. That was actually sick. Caught me off guard because, like I said, I'm not the biggest like Godzilla fan.
What would you say was, if you have any like bad things to say about Godzilla?
My only like kind of issue, I guess, is that when I forget the character's name, I apologize. But the girl, when she essentially dies, when she just gets like swept away from the blast, which is insane. Yeah. That the blast pushes you and then also pulls back.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The fact that she survived that is insane. And then when you see her by the end of the movie, I know spoiler, but when you see her by the end of the movie, she's just like, I have one bandage. And her face is like perfect. I'm like, okay. And I don't know, that's just like me. Me personally, I have no problem with her surviving. But I'm like, you gotta have like a limb missing or something, because like the blast was insane. Yeah. Like it's like pushes, like,
honestly,
and then it pulls back.
My gripe was that it's like the same thing with Titanic. There was plenty of room for both of you to have been saved from the blast.
Yes.
It felt unnecessary for her to push him away when there's this giant explosion that she could easily just kind of like hug him and just like get behind something.
Yeah, she could have literally like dove on him and they both.
I think she wasn't already.
Or like they dove and then they like smacked against the wall or something. You know, like, I don't know. You don't need to just do the.
Yeah, exactly. And that really was my only gripe that I could think of right now about the movie.
Yeah.
I think this movie was, if you were alive during the original Godzilla and you just watched Godzilla for the first time, I imagine this is the feeling they felt. Where like, yo, this beast is terrifying. You know, it's supposed to Godzilla's supposed to be an allegory for like the nukes that were sent to Japan. You know.
Oh, I also did like the time period. I don't know if that's like
it's World
is
War
that
II.
yeah?
Post
Is that
World War
always
II.
been what like the lore has been?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always been. It's usually like during World War II or post World War II, because that was when all the nukes were happening during that era. And I think the original took place during that time. I think the score was really good. I've noticed that they used the original Godzilla
Yeah, I was gonna
score.
say didn't they use that?
Yeah, and I thought that was a really cool callback. Yeah, I honestly, out of 5, I gotta give it a 5 out of 5. I really do
You're rating
enjoy
it.
this.
I don't. Okay.
If
think
I
his
had to
name
give
is
it a
Dave
rating.
Portnoy, right? That's his name that does the pizzas, or you don't know anything about that?
Isn't that Barstool?
Yeah, Barstool. You know how he rates the pizzas and stuff.
I've never seen his
Okay.
content.
Okay,
like
so
that,
I guess I gotta inform you guys. Devin Portnoy goes around. David, I don't know his full name. I just seen a couple of his videos, but he goes around the United States, tries to find the best pizza, and he has a rating system 1 out of 10, and he rates it out. And that's kind of the system that I've adopted a little bit, because his whole thing is like, oh, if you give it a 5 out of 5, how is anything better than a 5 out of 5? Like that's his whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you something you find that's like a 10 out of 10 is a goddamn masterpiece, and there's nothing that's ever going to be better than it. So I've kind of adopted that a little bit in terms of like, but just doing it toward the movies. So you saying 5 out of 5, it's kind of like that. I'm a little shocked by that, to be honest. Because to me, if I'm rating on the 10 scale, I give it like a solid
Like what?
8.5, like an 8.8. It was
That's
very,
still
very
really
good.
solid.
It was a very, very
Still
good.
really solid. in
There
all
was only
honesty.
one part where I just remember like kind of looking at my phone because I got like a little distracted, and it was like I
TikTok
think
brain.
no, it wasn't TikTok brain. I was like doing something else. I try to avoid TikTok actually
Oh, well, that's
because
good.
you can just do doom scrolling forever. You literally
That
can.
is so true. That
Yes.
is a whole other conversation, but let's finish the Godzilla.
But anyways,
well,
the only part where I kind of got a little distracted, I think it was after the boat scene where I was just kind of like a little bit more like, okay, like what are we doing here? And also, I do think that the movie was unintentionally funny at times because I watched the translated version. So there's like just some things where like at the dinner he's like, oh yeah, no, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, dude.
Yeah, sometimes the translations doesn't really
Did you
work
watch
that
it
well.
translated?
Yeah, just because that's the immediate first option, and I just didn't really go out of my way to undub it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I watch my movies with subtitles anyways, so even if I wasn't changing it,
I can't stand subtitles, bro. I just can't. If I feel like if I have to read during a movie that I'm watching, I just lose it.
That's what happens when someone that reads at a 3rd grade level. You know,
Hey, it's
has
a
to read.
4th grade level. That's today's video. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing to Infamous Idiots. I would greatly appreciate it. Check out our clips. We post pretty consistently, podcasts every week or so. And yeah, if you guys are new here, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Till next time, peace.